Okay, multiplying decimals. Count the numbers. So when we're multiplying decimals, we're going to count the numbers behind the decimal in the problem and make sure there are that many numbers behind the decimal in your answer. When we multiply decimals, we don't have to line them up. We're just going to put our bigger digit on top, so whichever number has the most digits on the top. If we're dividing decimals, remember outside, inside, up. This will make sense in a minute when we actually divide some decimals. But when we're doing that, if we're dividing a decimal by a decimal, we have to move it. We have to move the decimal that's on the outside, move the decimal that's on the inside, and then bring it up to the top, okay? And then watch your integer rules for all of them. So remember integer rules, if we are multiplying and dividing and you have the same signs, what is your answer always going to be?
Negative. No, positive.
Positive. If they're different signs, what's your answer always going to be? Negative. So example 1, solve the following. 3.4 times 5.8. So to set this up, since they both have 1, 2, 1, 2 digits, set it up like normal. So it doesn't really matter which one goes on top because they have the same. And then multiply across. Okay, is this what you guys are getting? 1972?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So now go back up in your problem and count how many numbers behind the decimal did we have?
Oh, 2.
We had 2. So that means in my answer, I want to have 2 numbers behind the decimal.
1972.
So 19.72 is my answer.
How did you get that? Action.
Okay, example 2. So 12.56 times 3.81. So in this case, I've got one number that has 4 digits, one number that has 3. So I want to put the bigger one on top. So I'm going to put 12.56 on the top times 3.81. So multiply it as though there are no decimals there. Multiply it like you regularly would.
I don't know how to do that.
And remember, each new number that you start multiplying, you have to add that place value. So like on the first number 1, we can go through and multiply by each number. When you get to that second number, when we're done with 1, you've got to add that place value of 0. And then multiply. So 48, 40, 44, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then on your third number, then you have to add 2 placeholders. Okay? So then we've got 18, 15, 16, 6, 7, and 3. So then go back and count how many numbers behind the decimal we had in the problem. So altogether, how many did we have?
4.
We had 4. So that means in my answer, I want to have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers behind the decimal. So 47.8536. What if I wanted to round it to the nearest hundredth? So that would mean I want to round it to 2 places behind the decimal. What would that be? If I'm rounding it so there's only 2 numbers behind the decimal, what is that? 47.85. If your question said to round it.
Yeah, but if it didn't.
Okay, number 3, 15.6 divided by 3. That's what that little slash mark means.
Did I do this?
So when we go to divide, the first number that they give you, in this case 15.6, that's what's going in the house. That's what's going in the doghouse. The outside inside up applies to the outside number. If there was a decimal, we would move it. You'd move your inside and bring it up. In this case, we don't have an outside decimal, so all you want to do is bring that decimal up first. Okay, so we got 5, that's right. Bring your 6 down, and then 3 goes into 6 2 times. So that's right, good. Number 4, 156 divided by 0.3. Which one goes in the house? Which one?
156.
156 is going to go in the house, and then 0.3 on the outside. So this is where we're going to use the outside inside up. So the outside decimal, I want to move that decimal until it's at the end of the number. So we have a whole number. So how many times is it going to take me to move it to make a whole number? Just the one time. So I'm going to move it once. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the inside. 156 doesn't have a decimal, so what could I do? I could add a decimal at the end, right? Okay. So I moved it on the outside. I'm going to move it on the inside, even though I had to add it. And I'm going to bring it up. Okay? So outside, inside, up. That's what that means. Okay, so outside, inside, up, and now you can divide like normal. So now we're dividing 1,560 by 3, technically. So 3 can go into 15 how many times? 5. So I'm going to put the 5 up top. Oop. Subtract that 15. Bring down your 6. Then 3 can go into 6 how many times? 2. And then bring down your last number, 0. And 3 goes into 0.
0 times.
0 times. So 520. Outside, inside, up. If y'all can remember that for division, we doing okay.
Oh, you put the L. What you looking at?
Word problems at the bottom. Make sure you underline whatever I underline so you know it's important. Joseph bought 3 metal rings at $2.59 each. What is the total he paid for all 3? So what could we do? If they're $2.59 each and he bought 3 of them.
$2.59 times 3.
Good. I can do 2.59 times 3. Because he bought 3 at the same price. So we can multiply, and I'm going to put 259 on top because it has more digits. There's 3 digits. And then multiply like you normally would. So add those all up. We've lined our decimals up.
You need to speak up. I'm deaf.